There is nothing quite like an injury that is going to slow up your learning process, your learning curve, because you're going to take time off, you're either going to plateau or your skill set is going to drop. You don't want to get injured. Aside from just the actual pain of the injury, it's just going to take your martial arts career and just stall it for a certain amount of time. So let's talk today about 5 mistakes I have made in my career that have led to serious injury. Before we get this episode underway, I want to let you know that my favorite fight sport apparel company, XMartial, is having their biggest sale of the year, 30% off. Everything in the store. You can grab awesome shorts like that. You can grab ones like this. They have some of the best rash guards I have ever seen. We can get really fun ones like a little T-Rex saying, "Armbar me, impossible," or just great colors with lots of oomph to them. These ones are just so much fun. You guys can head over, use the code BF30 to save 30%. When I stopped and started thinking about all the points I want to touch on for this episode, I went, oh, I could touch on all these little details like, oh, I really injured my wrist after years of trying to throw like this, or maybe having my elbow too low. But I went, you know what? Those are minor details, things that I correct in my normal tutorials when I'm talking about hooks. Today, we're going to focus in on some of the big picture stuff. And of course, I could give you guys like a list of 20 things, but these episodes, they're bite-sized, they're small. I'm trying to get them done in 6, 7, 8 minutes. So let's get started into tip number 1. And that is something that's plagued me very recently. It just happened. I got cellulitis in this elbow. I have got cellulitis down here once. And generally, I think of myself as a pretty clean person. I usually shower or bathe 2 times per day. You know, I'm brushing my teeth like 5, 6 times. I don't just leave the gym and go home and just go, oh yeah, I don't need to shower or anything like that. But cellulitis has set me back a number of times. I just took, I think 2 weeks off and still not 100% better. I missed my fight when I had this bit of cellulitis. It was a week before my fight and I basically was on antibiotics and my leg was all stiff when I fought. Believe me, you don't want to go down this road. And you might think, oh, that's not going to happen to me. But the reality for me was they were such little small nicks. I'm thinking both of them were toenails because the one down on my foot, I looked, I'm like, oh, look at that. There's some blood there. Where did that come from? This one, I didn't even know that I'd got cut. They were such minor little cuts, and maybe I came home, I showered half an hour later, but I didn't scrub it down, and I didn't get something like polysporin on it, and that is gonna be a big issue because once you get cellulitis, apparently your body is a little more susceptible to it on a second time. That's what I was told at least. So now I have to be extremely careful, and this is a road that I want all you guys to avoid because yes, it is an injury, it is serious, and it will set you back, just as it has me if you get this infection. The next mistake that I have made, which has led to injury, actually comes through the jaw. Getting hit in the jaw. Normally when I get hit in the jaw, I'm fine, but I've been smacked a couple times where it feels like your teeth do not line up. I bite down, my teeth are right where they should be. I've had times where I cannot bite down. How does this happen? Well, your mouth is open. You take a massive shot, gets stretched out, all the muscles in there get stretched out, and something just really seizes and you can't get that bite down. It's extremely painful. It's not a broken jaw situation, but it's extremely painful. The mistake obviously is that I'm breathing through my mouth, or maybe just as we do when we do pads, we're like, ah, 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 ah. Maybe I'm doing that when I'm sparring. You get caught with a little left hook. You don't have a good solid headgear on. I don't normally spar with headgear because I feel like I get hit more, but be very careful to make sure that if you are breathing through your mouth is ready to be closed very quickly because you want to take impact on the face, especially in the jaw, with a closed mouth, a stiff jaw, so that when you do get hit, the whole head moves and not just your jaw where everything stretches out. This is very painful. You do not want it. The next mistake I've made, and I think this is the one overall that has set me back the most, and probably put me down for, I think in total, maybe a year, mostly through back pain. And this was very simply overtraining. Years and years ago, I went, oh, I have to train like Buakaw, or at least the way I thought Buakaw trained. I went, he's talking about doing 2 4-hour sessions per day. And I went, he's training 8 hours per day. Oh gosh, I don't have time for that. So I would push and push for probably 2 to 2.5 hours per session. If I would get a little injury or feel fatigued, I would go, no, no, no. Buakaw wouldn't take a break. I have to keep going. And I pushed and I pushed and I pushed. As you get more advanced and you have camps where you ease on back a little bit, you rest a little bit more, and then you perform super well, you realize this is not always necessary. Overtraining can hinder you, it can destroy your body, and then what happens is instead of going, oh, I have 11 training sessions this week, which is normal for me, I do 11, all of a sudden you get more like 8. Because on 3 of those, you're so injured, you can't train anyway. So you have to be very smart with training hard, but not too hard, because we don't want to miss out on sessions because we're so injured. Now, when we do get an injury and we go to seek professional help, usually from a physiotherapist or an athletic therapist, they're gonna give you some awesome drills. Like when I hurt my knee, she had me holding a medicine ball, really working the stability, doing the twisting with the eyes closed. So I was feeling, oh, all the time. I got that wobble and the muscles are really engaging. When I take the time to do physio, I recover, I like to say, like Wolverine. Like when my knee went, the doctors, when I talked to them, they said, oh, you'll probably recover in 6 to 8 weeks. I recovered in 3. I was so fast back, and this happens very often, but the mistake I often make is not following through on my physio. I go right to the point where I go, oh, I'm recovered. It's feeling good, I can get back to running, and I stop. And then these injuries continue to plague me for sometimes months after, sometimes years after. And on the few injuries that I've had where I've actually followed through with my physio, stayed on it, continue to do it a couple times per week for like years, they're gone. They seem like they do not come back, and the repercussions of that initial injury are completely faded. And the very final mistake that I've made many times in my career that have led to injury is not taking the time to stretch out pre and post workout. If I just get into a workout, I can get away with going and getting the session happening in a decent amount of time, assuming that I start fairly slow. If I start fast, I'm just gonna hurt something. But if I start fairly slow and I don't stretch, I can get away with it. If I take the time to just throw my arms around, you know, kind of do this for a minute, and then take 5 minutes to stretch before getting into my skipping, and then at the end of the workout, I take another 5 minutes to stretch, I swear my body loves me so much for it, and I can go through weeks of training and have pretty much 0 injuries. These 5 things I've mentioned today, these are what have plagued me. These are the things that I know if you jump on right now and you don't make these mistakes, your injuries will stay super minor. And that's all what I'm about on this channel. I'm trying to help you guys improve your skill set, and I'm trying to help you avoid making mistakes that I have made, not just in my career, but in my whole journey or road through this martial arts experience that I'm having. So I hope you guys take this one to heart. I hope you got something from it, and you're really going to change up your training to make sure that you can avoid injuries and stay healthy. Let's call it there, guys. Thanks for joining me today. As always, train hard, stay safe, be smart, and I will see you back here soon for another video.